have UI UX designers in the house? Okay, awesome. Yes. So we have people that are going to enjoy and benefit from this conversation. And the person that will be taking us as she moves forward is Alison. She is a product designer at Money Points, and she loves to make stuff, to solve problems, to ship fast and impact billions of lives. She's going to be talking us through the role of micro interactions in UX design. So distinguished ladies, please give it up for Alison. Thank you.
Wow. People are plenty. I think this has to be the largest gathering of tech women in the world. Please put your hands together. So basically, I'm so sorry. Love my train of thought. When I walked in this morning, first that came to my mind was sea babes. Like women everywhere, just doing great things and creating magic and just excelling in their different fields. It is very amazing to see in a continent where women were basically restricted to kitchen and home duties and then domestic work. It is very amazing to see that in my lifetime, this is happening. Please put a round of applause. Put your hands together for yourself. This is amazing. Okay, how many designers do we have in the house? Hi. How many front-end developers do we have in the house? Yes, I came for 2 of you. So we're talking about micro-interactions in design, and whether you are a designer or not, or a developer or not, so basically you may or may not have heard of micro-interactions. Do you know what micro-interactions are? Is it familiar? No, okay, we'll talk about it. Whether you know or you don't, it is basically something that everybody here has interacted with one way or the other. I promise you. Now, even with your cameras up, you are interacting with micro-interactions that somebody else designed. So basically, yeah, let's get right into it. Now, what are micro-interactions first? These are basically small details that designers basically consider when they are designing their web applications or their mobile applications or anything that they interact with online, basically, on your tablet, on your phones, whatever it is. We'll talk about the details, please don't look confused. But basically, the definition that I really like from a blog that InVision wrote a few years ago and basically explains that micro-interactions are small moments where users and design interact. When it is well designed, it enhances the user's experience with the design. And when it's poorly designed, they ruin the experience plans. Now, basically, let me give you an example. Micro-interactions are everywhere. From when you like a tweet on Twitter, you see how that heart emoji spreads love and confetti. And when you go to TikTok and then you save, you see how the bookmark icon, to let you know that something has happened. Even to something as basic as taking a screenshot. If your phone is not on silent, you hear the camera sound to show you that, yes, we have taken a picture of your screen. Now imagine that you took these actions and you did not see or hear anything. You'll be very confused. Because it just basically means that MTN is messing your day up and is not responding, or something is broken with the application and you're frustrated because there's no feedback from the product. Basically, we have interactions is a two-way thing. So when the user takes an action, they are expecting a reaction. And that's what micro-interactions are about. They are very small micro details, but they are very important. So important that if they're not there, it can frustrate the user's experience. But sometimes, because they are so small, users basically sometimes don't even notice that they are there. Basically, okay. Yeah, like I mentioned, it's basically about communicating status and providing feedback. Now, what forms can micro-interactions be? They can be visual, meaning that you see the reaction. They can be haptic, meaning that you feel it. A typical example would be your phone vibrating from an alarm or from, I don't know, anything, vibrations basically. Typical example would be, sound is another way that microinteractions can become. It doesn't have to be visual, basically. It could be sound, it could be visual, it could be a haptic vibration. Typical example, you bring out your phone, you say, hey Siri, you see those sound waves move around, and Siri responds back to you. Imagine you say, hey Siri, and nobody answers you. You know, yeah, there's that. So this thing is so small. Why is it important? Why does this thing matter? If they are just very small design details, why should I bother about them as a designer? And I'm very particular about devs because sometimes designers design these interactions and then the devs start to swear for them and tell them that it's too much information and they don't need to code it. But why do you need to code this very small thing? Like I mentioned before, the interaction we have with our devices is a two-way street. When I talk to my iPad, I want to get a reaction. When I'm on Twitter, when I make any action on my phone or my laptop, I expect to get a reaction. I'm sending a message to somebody, and I click send. My system has to tell me that the message has sent. It could be just a very small tick check sign or whatever, but it's important that users get feedback on like anything that they're doing. So this is why these things are very important. And I'm very particular about designing micro-interactions in the fintech space. I'll tell you why. I work in MoneyPoint. And you know, it's a fintech company. We handle people's money. Imagine that you open your MoneyPoint application and you send money to somebody, but we don't tell you it has sent. And then we debit you. You will see yourself on Twitter because we didn't tell you that your money has gone. So it's very important when you're handling, especially when it comes to people's privacy information or especially money, that we give feedback. It's just basically user experience. We're just improving user experience with these micro details. However, there's a limit to it. We also know that if it's just too much, it's just very annoying. So basically, I have just a few minutes, so we won't really deep too much on this. But we're going to look at popular use cases from products that I personally like, and I feel like we should all look at probably their case studies to see how they have designed micro-interaction in their applications. The first one would be Headspace. Does anybody here use Headspace? Okay, I see one hand. Nobody here uses Headspace. Two. Nobody else. So Headspace is basically a meditation application. Yeah, and you can see there's this projector really shrinks this thing. But you basically can see the breathing and breathe out. Actually, download the application and see it yourself. It's just, they could not have written breathe in and then breathe out. But then just seeing that your phone is breathing with you, it just makes you feel a little bit safe. I know it looks very small, like this is not a get, but on your phone, it just makes you feel like these people thought of me when they were designing this thing. Like I'm probably their only user in the world, and they really paid enough attention to me and my needs when they were designing, the application. You can read through the rest of them in your own time. The second one will be my personal favorite, Duolingo. Anybody knows Duolingo? Or you Spanish and French enthusiasts? I see you topping the leaderboards. But basically, one reason why Duolingo is a favorite for all of us is the way that the interactions are designed. When you finish a module, they could just tell you lesson finished, and that's all. But they make it in a way that you feel seen, you feel like they are holding your hand. Oh my God, you finished this lesson. That bird is just somersaulting and clapping for you and making you just feel like you're very special. I mean, you are, but, Yeah, so things like this are things that make me really like Duolingo, for example. So I've already mentioned why this thing is important, and I've shown you a couple of examples of products that have used this. But when you are designing your typical fintech application or your typical, any other application you are designing, you need to know when to use these things. Like I mentioned before, micro-interactions are usually used mostly to give feedback. So you can't just use them everywhere. You can't have things moving around all over your app. It's very distracting. It can get very annoying. You need to know when to use micro-interactions. A typical example will be when there's a swipe action. So, yeah, basically, if you have a mobile application or an application that has multiple tabs, you might want to make sure that users know they have moved from one section of your mobile application to another. So there's that. The second one would be when there's data input. And this one is very annoying because I had an experience today. I won't mention the name of the product, but I was trying to change my password. I was trying to enter my password, and it was wrong, but they didn't tell me. So I kept typing the same password, and then they blocked my account. But they didn't tell me it was wrong. It was when they blocked it that I realized that I had the wrong password too many times. So basically, when a user enters data that is not valid or you cannot authenticate, you need to let them know, saying, oh, your password is wrong, enter it again. Let me give you another example in your finance applications. When you're sending money to somebody, you put in their account number and then their bank, and then your phone does what? Generates the name of the person. That's a very typical micro-interaction. So you know that if the name does not come up, maybe the number is wrong or the bank is wrong and you check it again. But imagine that designers didn't think of you when they were designing that, and you just left it like that. And then you have to start figuring out, is it correct? Did I make a mistake? Is it MTN again? Or is it my network? Or what's going on? It's just very frustrating. So this is another point where we need to consider micro-interactions. The third one would be when there's a call to action. A button that says, change password, for example. I already changed the password, but I want you to reset it. So I already entered the old password and then the new password, and I click change password. I should get your password has been changed. Your password has been changed. Exactly. But imagine that, you don't say that, and then the user is just confused. It's just a lot of room for confusion and friction in your mobile application, so you need to consider that as well. They're already warning me that my time has finished, so I will just, anyways, I think that's all. No, wait, quick one. I have a thing for my designers. I'm so sorry, I didn't put this in the slide, but are there any aspiring designers here? So this is even for designers of any level. In fact, devs can also participate in this. So if you go to your browser and then you type in reinaui.com. Sorry, I don't have time to explain, they're already pushing me. But basically, it's a design system that a few friends of mine and myself put together. It's amazing, basically. RaynaUI.com is a design system on Figma. It's free. It has about 500 plus customizable components. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.